right there. That's a good crappie, guys. That is what we're after. Holy heck, that one downed it. Alright, good morning folks. First crappie of the morning, and it's not a big one, but that jig is gone. Black and chartreuse, and we'll get him unstuck and then we'll talk about it. I'm gonna have to get a pliers because he is not getting unstuck easy. So let me just back off of this pile of brush here. He's just gonna have to suffer for a moment. Ooh. Always the first one is always a mess. So there we go, guys. First one of the morning. Nice little black crappie. But we'll take it, you know, it's a start to the day. And what I'm doing here again today is I'm vertical jigging. I decided to start with vertical jigging because it is so calm today that there's no chop to really impart any action on my minnow under my slip bobber that I got here. So I just thought I'd start with using a vertical jigging method today. And what I got on there is a blackhead and a chartreuse Bobby Garland plastic and high contrast. This water is really murky again. It's got about maybe a foot of clarity, so I thought I'd put on something nice and bright that they could pick up on, especially with the low light. The sun hasn't even come over the hill yet, so it's very early, and that was our first one. So I got a couple hours here this morning. I decided to take work off today because very light winds today, and I just wanted to take advantage of that because we're going to be getting ice here in probably a month or so. So I wanted to do a little bit more vertical jigging and do some crappie fishing before it iced over. So I was like, this is the perfect day. This is my kind of day to go do it, and we're out here, and that's the first one. I've been out here for probably 15 minutes, and hopefully we can catch a couple more before the day's over. We'll see. That one definitely gobbled it up. There's one, guys. Woo! That bite is light again, guys. I'm glad I've been doing all that bass fishing because that has set me up for what today is going to be. But we got another one, and it's a white crappie, guys. Sweet. On the black and chartreuse. A white crappie. Hopefully we'll get more size, but I think a school moved in because I'm getting a lot more marks on my flasher than I was before. But there we go, crappie number 2, and it's a white, so I'm pretty stoked on that. But what I mean by bass fishing set me up for this because I have been just grinding it out for bass, because I personally believe that bass are more affected by colder water temperatures than crappie are. So I've just been really slowing it down for bass so that I'm already in that mindset of slowing down. And that crappie thumped it, but it was a very light thump compared to what I was getting used to about a month ago. So the bite is really light, and again, just like the bass, I did not set the hook on that fish right away. I felt the thump, but it was so light I didn't even know the fish was there. And it wasn't until I lifted my rod tip that I knew that crappie was there, because I felt the pressure from the crappie grabbing onto that jig. But a very light bite yet again with the crappie today. It's incredible how much these fish behavior changes when the water temperatures get under 50 degrees. It is just a very different kind of fishing. Every year it just really slows down. Oh yeah, folks, moved to a little tiny brush pile and we pulled a good one out. Look at this, guys. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You betcha. I'm gonna get a pic of that one, but look at that. That's a good one. That's a white crappie, I think, or a mix. I don't know. It's a very, very pale black crappie, if it is. I think it might be white or black. I can't tell. And we got him on the Itty SwimR with a black jighead. We just switched to a little smaller profile. But there we go, folks. That's a nice one. We'll get a pic of this one, hold it in the water, and tell you what we did there. Alright, folks, so we're gonna let this one go. Look at that. That is a beaut right there. That's a good crappie, guys. That is what we're after. Beautiful crappie. Get it back. Very nice crappie right there. But they are very quiet today. When they do come across it, they crush it pretty good, but not near what it was. You can tell they kind of analyze it a little bit longer in this colder water. They'll do a little peck here and there, but you know, it takes a bit to get a really good vertical hook set on these guys. They are kind of like the bass. Sometimes they crush it, and sometimes they just peck at it, you know. But you know, a month ago when the water temps were above 50 degrees, it was always a thump. It was that crappie thump that we all know and love. But yeah, it's just when the water temps, like I said, get below that 50-degree mark, it just becomes a really, you know, I always say it's a game of patience, because that's really what it is. But when the water temps drop below 50, it's a different kind of patience. It really is, for any species, in my opinion. Or I guess I'll say crappie and bass, because those are the species I target a lot. I target the most. Anyways, we're just gonna hang out here. That's number 3. I think I've had 5 bites today, and 3 of the 5 I've been able to get topside. So it is a game of patience, and you just got to be persistent, and you got to stick with it, and you got to stay focused, and you'll end up with a nice one like that. So I'm good with that. That was fun. Felt great. Oh goodness, folks, these guys are so picky. This is complicated, but there's another good one, guys. I can't tell you if it's frustrating or if it's more rewarding. It's a bit of both, but look at this. Put on an ice jig for this guy. I was like, let's see if we can move to an ice jig. They're just packing. I think they're getting more lethargic as that sun rises, but that's another good one, guys. Another beautiful crappie. It's just worth it when they're like this. If they were dinks, I'd say no way, but just beautiful shoulders, beautiful fish, just so much fun. You gotta love it. And we're working with just a little ice jig. Ice is not far away, guys, so you know, just gotta slow it down. It's just the way it is. You just have to do it and let him go for another day. Glad that was another good one, because this is tough. Oh my goodness, is this tough. Something I wanted to mention though is, is I'm set up on next to no brush. And there's just the tiniest little clump of wood here. I'm in 4 feet of water. That wood comes up about 2 feet. It's just this little pile of brush, but it's next to nothing. Like, there's not much there. But what I've learned is in the fall is I catch crappie in the creeks, and what they do is they hold the wood in creeks too, but they'll literally hold to like a stick. So in my head, it was kind of an eye-opening experience of how little these fish will set up on, just the tiniest little bit. So you know, you think 2 feet of brush, a big crappie like that can easily set up in there, you know. A state record crappie could set up in next to nothing. They can just hide themselves up in that stuff. It's just crazy. So yeah, it's just a very interesting how these fish can just tuck themselves up on next to no cover. Sometimes it's easy for me to think I need to find a big old brush pile, but you don't. You just need a tiny little bit of something for them to hold to. And they'll come up and grab it every now and then. But they're just pecking, guys. Like that fish, before I even set the hook on him, he kind of just pecked at it a couple times. It wasn't a thump. It's like the bass fishing I've been doing. All of a sudden they're just there, that pressure change. And you know, sometimes you're able to lay a hook into them and sometimes you're not. It's just, I really don't know how you can fix that or make that more efficient. It's just the way it is this time of year. When the water gets that cold, you're just gonna catch some and sometimes you're gonna miss them. It's just, their bite is so light. And I think as the sun is getting higher, that bite's getting even lighter. So you just gotta be patient. There's a lot of downtime vertical jigging in between pulling fish up. Half hour, guys, and I'm never pulling these jigs out of the water. The jigs are constantly soaking. They're either dead sticking or I'm popping them every now and then, but they are always in the water. I'm never taking my jig out of the water unless I do a color change. That is it. But I'm letting them soak as long as possible. Just trying to give myself every opportunity to get a bite, because they are so tight-lipped right now. Just crazy. You know, friends, as I said, it's been a really lethargic bite today, so I got about a half hour left of fishing before I have to make my way back home. But I thought maybe for the last half hour, since it is such a tough bite today, that I would just kind of use my side imaging and see if I can find anything new and just explore a little bit. You know, it's just such a beautiful day. It's so peaceful, and there's not a wind ripple on the water today, and it's just a good day to kind of just kayak around and just enjoy nature, not be so fixed on fishing. It is just so beautiful out, and it's really easy to get distracted fishing and just not take a moment to really appreciate how nice of a day it is. It's just absolutely beautiful. Like I said, it's just, you can't put it into words, guys. It's just something you got to get out and experience. A day this peaceful is just rare in Iowa, and it's something you can really appreciate, just how quiet it is. It's just so quiet. I just love it. So anyways, sometimes it's more than just fishing. There's more to it than just fishing. It's just peace of mind, guys. So I'm gonna paddle around a little bit more, see if I can find any new cover that crappie might set up on, and then call it a day. You know, maybe if I'm really lucky, I'll be able to find one, catch one. But it's gonna be the odds are definitely stacked against me with how darn tight-lipped they are. Like I said, water temps 47 degrees, and you know, I'm kind of actually surprised that they're not biting a little better, but it is really calm, so it's really hard to be stealthy on them. So, but yeah, it's just a very lethargic bite. So we'll just enjoy the rest of the day putzing around, and maybe I'll have more to follow up with later. So we'll see. All right, folks, so I'm paddling back to my car now, and I didn't really mark any additional cover, but what I did mark was a giant ball of shad, and not too far from it was a giant ball of something, either crappie or bass. But I mean, it is a dead zone down there. It's a giant sand flat. There's not a whole lot of life that you'll mark down there, but man, all of a sudden just two massive schools of fish showed up. One massive school of shad, not far from it, a massive school of predators just maybe 15 feet off of them. So yeah, it's just been a slow day. I think I caught 4 fish this morning, and I think I had maybe 8 bites, and I've been fishing since 6:30, so that puts me at around 3.5 hours of fishing this morning. So, you know, I'm at about 50% on makes. I think of the 8 bites I got, I caught 4. missed 2 hook sets, and then the other 2 bites I had, I didn't even set the hook on them. It was just fish pecking away at it, but nothing to make me want to try to set the hook. So overall, it's been a really slow day. I think as the wind died down more and more, as much as it is beautiful and quiet, I think that hurt the bite just a little bit. You know, they're already lethargic, and then making it real quiet and glassy, sometimes that can help fishing and sometimes it can hurt fishing. I think today's case, the glassy conditions definitely hurt fishing. Oh, we're gonna paddle up here. Great day. Just any day on the water is a wonderful day, and every day on the water is something you can take away with and learn from. So caught a couple good ones, and you know, that feeds my soul. So we'll get out there again in a couple days. It was a little extra day for me that I took off work. Just couldn't be working on such a beautiful day, and I'm really glad I decided to take the day off despite the lack of bites. It's always more fun being on the water than being at work. So y'all take care. I'll see you next time. And before you know it, we'll be on ice. So big changes coming soon. Take care, guys.